Hi, you feather merchants. This is a Pelican Bay State Prison story, and it's about an inmate that was on a yard that was involved in scamming the IRS. Anyway, it was, I think it was around 2001, something like that, and we were visited by an FBI agent, IRS agent, and I believe there was a postal inspector there too. I know there was another case that we had a postal inspector in there because of a Social Security scam. But anyway, I think all three of these people were there, and they came to our office when I was on the security squad, and evidently there was an inmate on a yard that was I believe he was doing life without, but he had been in prison with another guy that had paroled and had became a tax accountant, and they stayed in touch with each other because they had talked about a possible scam that they were going to pull off. And what they ended up doing is the tax accountant, former inmate, had, once he was established, he asked his friend who was on a yard, he said to give him Social Security numbers, clean Social Security numbers, people that haven't filed their taxes. And so he did that. And the tax accountant would pay for each number that he received. He would give the inmate on a yard, he would give him money. I think what he would give him was a little less than $200 a piece for the number. I want to say it was around $150. And each guy that come up with a number, a good number, they would get paid too, a little bit less, but about the same. So anyway, what this tax accountant would do, he would get these Social Security numbers, and then he would file tax returns with the IRS, and he would have these people working at Pepsi-Cola, Coca-Cola, Boeing, and big corporations, and he would have them making around generally around $48,000 a year, and he would file 3 years worth of returns for each one that he had a number for. So he generally he's making at least 20 grand off of each number he gets, clear money. And the problem is when you start doing this in bulk, you got to have addresses for the IRS to send these checks to, and he didn't have like multiple addresses. He only had a couple, and so they had too many returns coming back to the same address. Well, anyway, the big IRS machine that processes these taxes, they kick them out, and then you have an IRS agent that looks at them, and they do a background on these Social Security numbers to see where these people are at, and lo and behold, they were all living on a yard in Pelican Bay. And so anyway, these people showed up at our office, and what we did is we searched this guy's cell and took all the correspondence that he had there and with the tax accountant, and made copies of everything for him. And he even had Social Security numbers amid his property. So I mean, it was like a slam dunk. It was easy to for this guy to get prosecuted. Well, anyway, the guy on A-Yard, the inmate on A-Yard, nothing ever happened to him. I mean, he's already doing life without, And the guys that gave the numbers, I don't think they did anything to them either. But the tax accountant, they fixed it where he could go back to prison, but he would have went to a federal penitentiary rather than a state. And you know the IRS, they'll come after you for a lot less than this. So it's just not a good practice to do that. And you know, I thought it was like kind of a clever scam, but the IRS agent said it was fairly common practice back then that a lot of inmates would do in different prisons throughout the states. And I would imagine by now they would have closed that loophole where, you know, it makes it more difficult to do that. And you know what, while I'm on the subject of scams, there was another one that came up, and it was a gang member. I'm not going to mention any gangs or names or anything like that. But anyway, there was a gang member that was in the security housing unit, and it was probably around the same time frame. And his wife, and there was another lady involved in nefarious activities with this guy, and it involved drugs and that. And so we had put her under investigation too, looking at her nonsense. And it just so happens that a postal inspector was curious about this lady too, because her father died around 3 years prior to him showing up at our office, and someone was collecting his Social Security checks, and it turned out to be her. And we were involved in a search warrant of her home, and of course found evidence that she was doing this, and they put a surveillance on at the post office, and she was the one that was picking up the mail in the post office box addressed to her father and cashing the checks. Anyway, it was just another story about crime does not pay. Anyway, you feather merchants, thanks for stopping by, and have a nice day. All right, thanks.